Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
Over the weekend, I went to the supermarket. And it was a little surprising, I've got to tell you, particularly when I came to the fish counter. Because typically, I'll buy myself a couple of salmon fillets every single week. And there weren't any. I mean, they just weren't there. Not only were there none there, but looking at all the trays behind the glass, about half of them were empty. And I'm looking at the guy, and he goes, yeah, man, we were shorted on everything this week. Everything. And so if you thought the supply chain problems had gone away just because the mainstream media has stopped talking about it, you would be wrong, because they're still here. So we have a supply chain expert on our Newsmaker line. His name is James Crean. James, I don't remember supply chain expert being there on career day. How did you get into that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I worked in the aerospace industry and helped to make their manufacturing more efficient. And as life progressed, I found that more and more companies out there, not just in aerospace but in all industries, really needed help creating efficiencies within their organization, and then that often led back to what's going on in the supply chain. Because if you don't have your parts, if you don't have your fish, you can't have your barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely. I certainly do know what you're saying this week, right? So, I mean, if you looked at the mainstream media, you would think, well, this has gone away because, you know, heck, that was news just before Christmas, not now. But it's absolutely still there.
No, it absolutely is, and it's going to be with us for, probably for the rest of the year, and it could be even longer. There's certain segments of the supply chain that are just still suffering. You know, we all are, know about the chip shortage that's caused the automobile industry to have issues, and that's not going away fast. It takes 2 years and $10 billion plus to build a fab to make more semiconductors, and that's happening. But
okay.
It's going to be a while.
So that's the semiconductors. What about salmon?
See, the thing is that there are issues across the entire supply chain, right? There's, obviously COVID doesn't help, right? COVID and we've had, just in our company, we've had, upwards of 25% of our people in the last few weeks out with COVID. So that definitely is a short-term impact, but there's definitely long-term impacts that are going to be around for a while. And we'll see these outages here and there in different products.
Right. I mean, that is certainly the first time I have noticed that salmon was affected, and but I've had other experiences in the grocery store, like it's just weird stuff. Like suddenly there was no broth. Right? There's they're literally empty shelves. I took photographs of them, empty shelves of broth, and of course we all know about toilet paper right at the beginning of the whole thing. Well, that was for different reasons, I feel. So we're suffering from stuff that we make right here, and I do mean make, because we farm most of the salmon these days. So we make it right here, and we still can't get it, and I'm not understanding that.
Yeah, what's happening is that the entire supply chain has issues, and so. We've heard about the port issues. Those port issues haven't gone away, so those are affecting aspects of business. And if there's certain things that a company needs in order to be able to do their ongoing business, and they can't get those things, it may be that it doesn't have anything to do with being able to get the salmon. It may have to do with getting other supplies that they need in order to process the salmon, for instance, right? I've talked with fast food restaurant owners that they can get, everything that they need, except they can't get lids for their cups. And so, or straws, or they can't get the cup, right? So, it's the problem is that you actually have to have everything in order to move forward, because that's the way your system is designed.
All right, well, it's starting to feel more and more like the old Soviet Union in our grocery stores. And so let me ask you this. Here we are. It's January 2022. And when is this likely to get back to normal and we can feel like America again?
Well, there's one thing that I have great confidence in, that is American entrepreneurs. And, we've been working with a lot of individuals and companies that are moving manufacturing here from China. That's a huge uptick in our business, and that's going to help a lot. And honestly, the government needs to get away from, their mantra of follow the science and start following common sense when it comes to things like COVID, like getting the treatments in place so people can get better quicker and these types of things. And
right. And, maybe we need to understand that the latest variant is more of a cold than anything else. I spent $25 on proving I had a cold like 2 weeks ago. And the reason I spent $25 on proving I had a cold a couple of weeks ago is because we're currently looking after somebody else's baby in our house. And here's the biggest irony. So we have had a medical doctor who's been involved in treating the coronavirus since day one, right? She's a mainstream doctor. She's a good friend of mine. And so she comes on, and I told her my story of spending $25 to prove I had a cold. And she goes, yeah, you probably had the Rona because these home tests are not picking up the latest variant. So there you go.
Well, I just recovered myself, and the home test picked it up for me and my daughter. But but you can't even get the home test anymore because now the government has decided they're going to buy all of the tests,
yes,
and
apparently
distribute them according to their
yes.
Well,
I'm glad you're feeling better. James is the president of Crean, Crean. It's a company that accelerates product delivery. I'm reading this out now through integrated engineering and smart manufacturing. What's smart manufacturing apart from doing it here and not in China?
Well, that's where it starts, and then beyond that, it's looking at the people, the process, and the technology, and making sure that everything is working together as it needs to in order to give you the control that you need and the flexibility to be able to deal with these kinds of changes that happen in the marketplace and be the best at being able to fill those gaps when those gaps arise. So
if the salmon farmer that supplies my supermarket was listening, could you help him out?
Probably. We work with basically every industry to help create efficiencies. We typically will cut cycle times in half and create efficiencies.
Well, you see, there's your problem right there. If you keep putting salmon on cycles, I mean, it's going to slow the whole thing down. James, I'm very appreciative of you coming on. If you want to find out more about his company, maybe he can help you beat the supply chain thing. Well, it's CREANINC.com. 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 James, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed our conversation. I'm glad you and your family are doing better.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon. It's been a pleasure.